I was 26 years old, standing on what I believed was the solid foundation of my future. My fiancée, let's call her Rachel, was also 26. We had been together for 6 years, and in that time, I became more than just her partner. I became a father. Not biologically, not legally, but in every way that matters. Because Rachel had a daughter, Ellie, from a previous relationship. Her ex had abandoned her before the child was even born. No child support, no birthday calls, not a single visit. Just silence. Emptiness where a father should have been. I met Ellie when she was just a toddler, 2 years old, and already so full of life. She had the brightest eyes and the loudest laugh, the kind of child who runs into the room like a storm and leaves everything better in her wake. On our second date, I remember Rachel telling me, "If you can't accept her, don't accept me." She meant it. And I didn't hesitate. Not for a second. At first, I didn't expect to fall for a child that wasn't mine. I thought I'd need time, that it would be a gradual process, awkward, even. But Ellie? She wrapped her arms around my legs like I'd always been there. She called me Dada once by accident after only a few weeks, then looked embarrassed, unsure. Rachel smiled. I smiled. And from that day forward, I was Dad. Not stepdad. Not mom's boyfriend. Dad. I was there for it all. The teething, the fevers at 2 a.m., the preschool art shows with glitter glued to everything. I took her to her first soccer game. I taught her how to ride a bike. I built her a treehouse, crooked, but she called it magical. Rachel and I used to joke that we were already married in every way that mattered. The wedding was just a formality. We'd sit on the couch at night after Ellie went to sleep, exhausted from another long day of parenting, and talk about the future. After the wedding, I'd say, "We'll make it official. I'll adopt her." And Rachel would beam at me, like I was giving her the world. But I wasn't doing it for her. I was doing it for Ellie. Because by then, she wasn't just her daughter. She was my daughter too. We had routines. Sunday mornings were for pancakes and cartoons. Wednesday nights were for backyard barbecues. Rachel always danced while she cooked. Ellie would sing along to whatever ridiculous song was on the radio, and I would film it, thinking, This is what life is supposed to feel like. I wasn't just investing time. I was investing my entire identity into this family. I turned down job offers that would have taken me to another city. I saved for college funds instead of vacations. I stopped seeing some friends who didn't get it, who treated Ellie like a footnote instead of the heart of everything I was doing. But I didn't resent any of it. I was happy. Truly. And I thought we all were. We were 3 months away from the wedding. I had the tuxedo picked. She had the dress. Ellie had already chosen the color of her flower crown. It was supposed to be the beginning of everything. I was finally going to become, in every legal way, what I had already been for years, a father, a husband, a provider. And then, one evening, Rachel left her phone on the kitchen counter, unlocked. She was in the shower. I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't suspicious. There wasn't even a fight. But a notification popped up. A message preview. And the words burned into my brain like acid. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible." I didn't recognize the name, but I recognized the feeling. That sharp, slow realization. That your entire world might not be yours at all. At first, I just stared at the screen. It was one of those moments where your mind refuses to process what your eyes are seeing. You hope there's context. That it's a joke. That maybe it's from a friend, something innocent, something you'll laugh about later. But deep down, my gut already knew. The name, Daniel. A man I had never heard of, never met. And the message wasn't vague. It wasn't flirty or playful. It was intimate. It was after the fact. It was the kind of message you send when the deed is done and you're already planning the next time. I didn't want to open the phone. I shouldn't have. But I did. And the moment I did, I opened a door I could never close again. There were dozens of messages. All tucked away in a hidden folder inside her chat app. A thread labeled Business Contacts. Ironic. Daniel wasn't the only one. There were 3 names I didn't recognize. Different conversations. Different tones. But all unmistakably the same game. Flirting. Meetup plans. Photos. Some of them explicit. And in between all of that, lies. Lies to me. Texts sent to me that same night, just hours apart. "I miss you. I'm so lucky to have you. Ellie and I couldn't ask for a better man." And then, minutes later, "You free tonight?" I still think about what you did to me in the shower. My hands started to tremble. Not with rage. With grief. It felt like mourning someone who was still alive. Like watching a ghost of the woman I thought I knew. Reading her words in someone else's world, a world I was never supposed to see. And what hit me hardest wasn't just the betrayal. It was Ellie. Because suddenly, everything came into question. Had she ever meant what she said when she told me I was the only father Ellie needed? Had she lied to her daughter too? Or worse, had she kept up the illusion because I was convenient? Because I was stable. Because I showed up. Because I loved that little girl more than anything in the world? That night, I sat in the kitchen for hours. Rachel was asleep. Ellie was in her room, dreaming, safe and warm, and I was quietly bleeding inside. Because I had built my entire life around a family that maybe never saw me as part of theirs at all. I didn't storm into the bedroom. Didn't flip the table or wake her up with accusations. No shouting, no slamming doors, no cinematic confrontation. Not yet. Because when your heart breaks like that, not all at once, but slow, deliberate, you don't react with rage. You react with calculation. You want to know how deep the knife goes. So I waited. I pretended everything was normal. I kissed her good morning. I made Ellie's lunch, helped her tie her shoes, walked her to preschool like I did every day. But inside, something had shifted. I had always trusted Rachel blindly. Now, I watched her like a stranger I couldn't quite read. Over the next few days, I paid attention to everything. The late-night work calls that made her leave the room. The new perfume she claimed was a sample from her coworker. The extra time she took to get dressed before errands. The way she clutched her phone like it was her life support. She changed her lock screen password. Turned off previews. Stopped leaving her phone out when she went to the bathroom. If she noticed I was acting differently, she didn't show it. And that terrified me more than anything. Because she was so good at pretending. At playing the loving partner, the devoted mother, while juggling multiple lives in her back pocket. But I needed more than suspicion. I needed evidence. Because in the back of my mind, some naive, wounded part of me still wanted to be wrong. Still hoped I'd misunderstood. Still prayed for a version of the truth that wasn't going to destroy everything. So I backed up her phone. I mirrored her texts, her call logs, her location. It felt disgusting. Like spying on someone I had once trusted with my soul. But I wasn't just protecting myself. I was protecting Ellie. Because if Rachel was this reckless, this dishonest, what did that mean for her daughter? I had to know the full picture before I decided whether to burn the whole house down or quietly walk away. And then one night, it happened. She said she was going to visit her sister. But her location pinged at a hotel on the edge of town. For 3 hours. No texts. No calls. Just silence. And I knew. I knew she wasn't just cheating. She was living a double life. And she thought she was smart enough to never get caught. She was wrong. By the time I decided to confront her, I wasn't angry anymore. I was numb. People think betrayal ignites a fire inside you. That you rage, throw things, scream. But when the lies are this calculated, this long-running, what you feel isn't heat. It's cold. A still, bitter cold that seeps into your bones and makes you question everything you ever believed about love. I printed everything. Screenshots. Location logs. Text threads. I didn't need all of it. But I wanted her to know I saw it all. She came home that night humming a tune. Put her purse down, kicked off her shoes, and kissed me on the cheek like she hadn't just spent the evening in someone else's bed. Hey, babe, she said casually. How was your day? I didn't answer. Just sat on the couch. Calm. Quiet. Still. She noticed the folder on the coffee table. What's that? I didn't respond. Just looked at her and nodded toward it. She hesitated. Then sat down. And when she opened it, the blood drained from her face like a switch had been flipped. For a few seconds, she just stared at the contents. Her fingers trembled slightly as she flipped the pages. Text after text. Timestamp. Highlighted. I could see the panic behind her eyes. The way she blinked fast, trying to reset her brain and find the perfect lie. I can explain. No, I said quietly. I want you to tell me the truth. Not what you think I'll believe. The truth. Right now. She swallowed hard. It didn't mean anything. It wasn't serious. I was going to stop. So it was real, I said. Thanks for confirming. She looked away, biting her lip. And then the tears came. Not the broken, remorseful sobs of someone who realizes what they've lost. but the controlled, measured weeping of someone who's afraid they've finally lost control. You're overreacting. It was just flirting. I was lonely. I didn't know how to tell you I needed more. I laughed. Cold and bitter. Flirting? You met them in hotels. You told them I was just your placeholder. That I was too boring, too soft. I didn't mean it. But you said it. She reached out to me. I stood up. You don't get to fix this. Not with words. Not with fake tears. You had everything. Me. My loyalty. My love. Ellie's trust. And you lit it all on fire. That name stopped her. Ellie. She tried to recover. Please, we can make this right. For her. She loves you. That cut deep. Because for a moment, I almost wavered. Almost. And what are you going to tell her? That mommy betrayed the man who raised her? That love means nothing when you're bored? She had no answer. Just more silence. And finally, I walked away. Not from a relationship, but from a lie that wore the mask of family for far too long. When I closed the door behind me, I wasn't walking away from a woman. I was walking away from a fantasy I had built with my own hands, one that had already crumbled long before I picked up her phone. The air outside hit me like a reset dot. Cold. Clean. Quiet dot. No screaming dot. No begging dot. Just the silence that follows when a storm finally runs out of rain. But peace. That didn't come right away. Because within 30 minutes, my phone blew up. Please, come back. This doesn't have to end like this. You're the only man Ellie's ever called Dad. Don't do this to her. That last one? That one cut. Because she knew exactly where to aim, and she was still using her daughter like a shield, like a weaponized plea for forgiveness. I turned off the phone. I sat in my car, in a dark parking lot, with everything I owned shoved into 2 bags in the back seat. No plan dot. No destination dot. Just the knowledge that the one person I trusted the most was the one who built her lies in the shape of a home. Over the next few days, she tried everything. Texted my sister dot. Emailed my boss dot. Told mutual friends I had abandonment issues. Tried to paint me as unstable as someone who just snapped out of nowhere. But the receipts didn't lie. And the friends who mattered? They stood by me. One of them, a guy I hadn't talked to in months, messaged me late one night and said, "Man, I always thought she looked at you like she owned you. Never like she loved you." That stayed with me. Because it was true. Rachel's final move? She showed up at my apartment 2 weeks later with Ellie in tow. Ellie ran to me dot. She hugged my leg like she always did dot. Told me she missed me dot. Asked when I was coming home. And I nearly broke. But I looked at Rachel dot. And in her eyes, I saw it. This wasn't about love dot. This wasn't about rebuilding. This was control dot. This was a woman trying to put her broken mask back on before the world noticed the cracks. I bent down and hugged Ellie tight. I love you, Munchkin. I always will. But I have to go be strong somewhere else for a while, okay? She didn't fully understand dot. But she nodded. Kids always know when something's wrong even when we try to hide it. I looked Rachel in the eye. You don't get to use her to clean up the damage you caused. And I shut the door. Not on a child, but on the idea that I had to stay in a toxic situation to be a good man. Months passed. And for the first time in years, I lived for me. I traveled dot. I reconnected with friends dot. I laughed, real, loud, ugly laughing, without waiting for it to be taken from me. Rachel faded into memory. Not with bitterness dot. Not even with sadness. Just absence. Because some people don't deserve a place in the next chapter. No revenge dot. No petty games dot. No grand gestures. Just distance dot. And the quiet victory of healing and peace.